All right, hey there. Thank you for joining me in today's photo reading session where we are going to the activate step of photo reading with our book, the Self-Hypnosis book. This is by Cheryl Powell and Greg Ford. So by now, you have done all the steps. You've done prepare, preview, photo read, and post view, and you've cultivated a list of questions, trigger words, and possible conversations you want to have with these authors and from this book. Now, today we're going to work on activation. Activation implies that you've done all these steps prior and you've allowed time and space between those steps and this step, or an incubation period. And that could be between, a few hours to a full 24 hours, or as long as you need to readily relax your mind into the information. Now we're going to activate. We're going to start by reviewing our questions, and then we're going to go into our activation process of super reading and dipping. When we go through that, we're going to scan down each page. We're going to go into what draws our attention, and then we're going to continue on. Then we're going to practice a few other techniques like skittering, and we're going to find and create a mind map. So you should have an extra piece of paper. You can always use the back of your questions, whatever you need to do. If you want to develop more questions, go for it. Play around with this process. Then we'll open up rapid reading, and we'll create a foundation to grow upon as we find more and more out about this book. Now, you, of course, can practice with any book. If you do have your self-hypnosis book, grab it now. We'll start by preparing. It's always okay, and it's important to relax your body. So a photo-focused state is truly achieved when we can relax internally. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Because you're a master photo reader, you can take a comfortable seat with a breath in. You can relax, breath out. And you're in the photo focus state. Take your time if you need more to really release and lengthen your spine, engage your core a little bit there. And now we're going to review the questions we've developed. So let's start our activation process. I recognize chapter 2, what's the history of hypnosis? I really wanted to know that. Who are the authors? What got them interested in hypnosis? I know I'll find that in the back. How can I use self-hypnosis to help myself grow? So I want to learn about that. Meditation versus hypnosis. Is there a difference between them? So I would like to know more about that. And how is hypnosis used in a malevolent way? And how do I recognize those pitfalls of misuse? So this is to see how people can use, I think, hypnosis negatively. So what is the mind? It looks like there's a page 49 to look at that. That kind of rhymes. So that'll be fun to look for. What are the practical steps of hypnosis? 7 steps to hypnosis, that's good. I can count to 7. What is a guided fantasy? And how can I use it to assist my understanding of hypnosis? So that's good to know. I'm a literal person, love to work on visual stuff. How to develop a personal program? Great. And then how's it used in therapy? So these are my personal questions, my intrigues. You'll have your own. Be sure you go about it in that way. So if you have your prop, grab that. You can set your page aside. You've reviewed, you've incubated, so it's time to activate. As we go about this, maybe you want to add to this, but for now, all we have to do is relax and cultivate super reading and dipping. This is similar to flying above and then going down, getting a little more detail and then coming back up. That's all we're doing, and you can go through a certain section or the whole book. I know this is a bit shorter, so maybe I'll go through, as far as I can, and then we'll continue on. And you can begin as you'd like, as you just dip in and then hover across. Dip in and hover across. You're strengthening your eyes to potentially pick up this information sooner, quicker, as you practice and practice. So I want to add as I go, just to, maybe some important dates. I'll pick up some names as I go. If this isn't a research project for you, don't treat it as such. Go through these steps as they are. See how it develops as you go. If you want to go into traditional reading, we'll be entering that a little bit later as we practice into rapid reading. There's definitely a lot of names. Continue to work at your own pace as you go through, and this may take time. Typically, a full session of activation can take 45 minutes or more. So as you approach it with your own level, remember, just going down the middle of the paragraph, going in and out. And we'll use other techniques to develop what we want from this book, what we want from our brain, what we want from hypnosis, what we want from photo reading in general. Start to develop these key cues that you'll notice over time. Use the NOPS process as often as you can. That's great. So it's used for sleep. And that kind of recognize that as the REM recognition. It seems to be continued open-minded practice. So yogis come up. Love yoga. The practice of yoga, finding out and wondering, becoming more curious about what yoga even means. Anywho, continue on going through. I think this book led me to find a fundamental curiosity of human limits. So you have your own limits, and that's the point. You got to put the limit you want. So maybe expand those boundaries. There's a technique that you can use to keep yourself focused on down. Keep a straight line straight through the center, dip down into bits, and we'll use the other ways of photo reading techniques, super reading techniques as we go. Continue to go through at your own pace as you gain more and more information. There are a lot of names in this book as far as the history of it. It looks like the future of it is NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming Techniques. A lot happened in England, just across the world. This is a very curious and, well, honestly, with the curiosity and the wonder, it's full of great pleasure to learn more and more about a hypnosis technique. as I'm starting to unravel that meditation and hypnosis are fairly the same. There is an issue, and I see this, that hypnotic suggestions can cause harm. So in therapy, it should be used with a very, very mindful ethic. So you don't want to suggest something to somebody that they wouldn't suggest to themselves. You're not here to use hypnosis to control anyone. If, for example, like martial arts, martial artists know since they have the ability to harm, they're not going to use that ability. They're wise enough to de-escalate situations that could cause harm. So the same thing for hypnosis, it seems, is that therapists should allow, or just an opinion, therapists should allow, a mindfulness approach when they're, practicing hypnosis on somebody, because they don't want to suggest something that causes the person to, not find their own potential truly. And implanted potential is probably not as quality as something that you find on your own, realize on your own, understand on your own. And that's what photo reading is supposed to do. It's activating something inside that has always been there, and that processes information at a great rate, but we use it in a way that doesn't convey the level of complexity that we actually have in processing power. So here, just take it easy on yourself. Allow yourself to just super read, go down the middle of each paragraph, dip in when you feel like intuitively in your body it's getting interesting, and just take a moment to look, and that's it. And I found so far quite a lot for myself. I haven't written down anything for a while, and that's just because I'm enjoying the process of super reading and dipping. And I think for now that's where I'm going to stop. You can continue on, pause the video, and continue on your own from here to finish super reading and dipping. With that information, I think I can go through and now cultivate the next activation process of skittering. Skittering is the process is coupled with super reading and dipping when we get into the rapid reading level of forming jumping around a paragraph and picking out words that are going to, and in essence, develop your concentration on the subject. So we're going to start working on, while we're skittering, our mind map. So, self-hypnosis. Now, as you work on your own mind map, what this does is it formulates a place for you to retrieve the information. It's a visual, so you're working at that side of your intelligence, and as you work through it, start in the center, branch out, maybe you decide clockwise, cultivate the information the way you want. Maybe you add in little pictures or use much brighter colors of pen than I am. Be yourself, be creative, and it'll start opening up this information for you. Now, there's the history, modern use. These are just things I'm curious about. Process, and we'll see what that last one is. So you cultivate branches, they're going to create smaller and smaller branches, just like any tree. Starts in the center, works out, and so on. So let's go back in, dive in. If we want, we can jump around some points. And as you go into a paragraph, just jump and see what shows up. So we're practicing a technique for the brain. Now, obviously, you don't need everything, so as you skitter, you'll notice that you are going through it a little quicker than you normally would. And this is okay, this is great. So, MJ Bass is the Journal of Experimental Psychology, 1931. There's a difference between sleep and hypnosis. That's very cool. Yeah, this is fun. So this may take a while. Maybe you get more curious and more engaged. And as you approach it, you're going to develop this information in your own way. So photo reading is the way of finding out how this book is going to help you, and then going about it further and creating that space of constant learning and constant striving to understand more. And honestly, I love that it's more than just sleep, because if you're lucid dreaming, you could potentially be in a state of hypnosis. Maybe not. This is obviously just speculation on my part, because lucid dreaming feels like hypnosis, but while sleeping. That's just to me, my perspective. Yours is your own, obviously, and continue to grow on that. Enjoy your perspective. Okay. Again, there's a lot of names. And it looks like this book pushes you forward and back. So if you want to create references and cultivate deeper history and understanding, you'll have to go backwards and forward. Looks like the Soviet Union had a part, which is interesting. Egypt had a part, which is interesting. A lot of it has to do with sleep. So, as you go at your own pace, don't worry about the pace I go. Go at your own pace. Find that space to cultivate the mind map of your choosing. You're starting to develop it at your own and grow on your own. So if you have to, you can speed this up and head forward, or continue on at the pace I'm going, and you can create a similar struggle with me as we grow gently with skittering. Skittering is a good technique to learn how to release your mind from expectation of information, instead pick it up as kind of like one of those little water spiders would jump around the water. It may surprise you that you pick up on this a little bit faster than others, but here's also the truth. There are some that may pick it up a little bit slower than you. So wherever you are is where you are, and that's it. Continue to practice at it, and you'll get better and better at it. I know it. And if you don't practice at it, well, you're not going to get better at it. That's it. Okay, just continue at your own pace. I know I've said that a lot, but it's really it. Yeah, Hippocratic Oath. Hippocrates apparently is maybe where it's inception of possible what mind may be. So that could be how we're connecting to do no harm. Right here we're getting into the mind-body connection of yoga. And that also has the elements of practice of do no harm, ahimsa, the self-restraint of non-harming. Continue to practice it on yourself as you go through your photo reading. Evolution, we could call it, right? And then it grows into actually being able to scan and watch during hypnosis with electrodes placed on the head. As you grow into what you see, you'll see more and more and more and more each run through of whichever book you're doing. This kind of book, it's good to do more and more often, a run through. You feel like there's something curious drawing your attention, an intuitive feeling, go see it, go take a look. And what if you get what you wanted from that? I mean, how rough would that be? You know, it would be really cool if you got what you wanted from your photo reading. Okay, so NLP, which is good. And this would go under my modern use and my mind map. As you approach your mind map, be sure you just create wildly. You don't have to do anything as ordinary as I do. Try to open it up and create it very colorful, full of fruit, full of flavor, full of pictures, visuals. Get your memory going. I will grow into that kind of stuff, but for now, just doing a ground zero approach for you. I have certain objects, certain tools that I have with me and around me right now, so next time I'll have more color. All right, let's continue on. There are a lot of names here. I'm going to scale back a little bit and how far I go into that, because that just is going to create and develop more research of certain peoples. Maybe they wrote a book on certain subjects that will then help the approach to this book, and that's what's great. You can start branching out book to book to book to book, and you start to see that there's this common connection between writers because they gain they gain perspective from similar places. So that's where I'm going to start with skittering. We're creating a mind map, and then one more time through as we create the mind map, you continue to add and add and add to this. But one more step, one more point to activating the activation step in your photo reading process, is to develop rapid reading. And the development of rapid reading is to coalesce the use of all three: super reading, dipping, and skittering. As you go through those three through a book, you'll start to have a conversation with the author. Like, for example, let's try this. What is the mind? And I know it's on page 49. So I'm going to start with the chapter it's on. What is the mind? I'm going to rapid read what it is, and I'm going to see what kind of information I can add to my mind map. So if your mind map wants to do this, go ahead. I've written in mind just to see. Maybe this helps. You still have your prop. Let's go to right before that page. And in rapid reading, page 43, chapter 3, in rapid reading, you can use all the elements, and it's just not just super reading, dipping, and skittering. You can also use photo reading. So if you need to pitch yourself forward, you don't have to settle with what information you already have achieved to know. You can go towards the information you want to know. If this ever feels like too erratic back and forth in how you're approaching a book, well, take a deep breath and enjoy it. If it works for you, excellent. If not, no worries. All right, so here we are, chapter 3. We're going to rapid read as we go. And the question I'm curious about is, what is the mind? And that's basically it. So here we go. We're in a photo focus state. We can rap and read. Is it the 30 billion neurons? In the brain? I don't know. Maybe. That's possible, right? Is it in the temporal lobe? Or the cerebral cortex? Getting to know more about anatomy would be a fun thing to go towards too. Yeah, is it in the cerebellum? See, is it in the hippocampus? Sorry, not hippocampus, hypothalamus. Is it a subconscious thing? Like the subconscious mind? Now I'm getting a lot of extra questions. To understand what the mind is a little bit different, I think. But get better by practicing. So as you go, practice more and more, adding to your mind map. Practice more and more rapid reading, where you are super reading, dipping, skittering, rhythmic peruseling, that's not a word, and also photoing along the way. Now, talking and doing other things isn't the best advice, but if you create an affirmation for inside yourself, you may help your brain. So like, good affirmation is every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. Now, for me, I believe, and actually, we'll just finish this chapter. For me, I believe that statement is true. If you continue to say that statement personally, your mind can consciously and effectively use that phrase whenever you forget that that's true. And eventually, through that conscious will of mind, that thought, adding thought into this space, your body will feel this way too. I'm just at the end of this chapter, so I'll if you need to pause it here and continue on activating at your own pace, please do. I'll see you soon. And it seems that they used anesthesia in the process of learning about hypnosis. And so it's like similar to sleep, kind of like a forced sleep versus actual sleep. And if there's a difference between hypnosis and sleep, anesthesia and sleep, is there a difference between meditation and hypnosis? I think the answer to that is no. I think they're very similar. One you can, well, both of them you can help another do. So this is where our activation video will end. So remember, continue to activate this book. If it's not a book that works for you, don't work with it anymore. Get another book. Get another book. That's it. There's so many books out there. Get another book and just practice again. If you need the Photo Reading Whole Mind course, you can get it through me, and you can go through the whole course to really develop your skills. I feel some days I could go through that course just to refresh, and it may be a great idea for myself this year, 2022, to go through that course again. So again, you can get it through me below, and I hope you enjoyed your photo reading process and enjoyed your book, and I'll see you again soon. I just hope you have a great day. Good luck with your photo reading, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, aloha.